Hello my gorgeous makeup loving friends. Welcome back to my channel. You can see I have no makeup on. There is a reason for that. It's blisteringly hot up here and everything would slide off my face anyway. The second and most important one is we're doing a little bit of bad makeup science. So I kind of figure I need to have a baseline of where my face has absolutely nothing on it so we can kind of figure out the results from there. By the way, I have this very cool t-shirt on and I love it. It says Schrodinger's cat is alive, dead. Sorry, I haven't been able to fit into this in like 7 years, so I'm very excited that I can now fit into it again. Sorry, that's a complete aside, but there we go. I have Larry Bertie, my fabulous little bat of science. He's going to help me out, so it's bat makeup science, I guess. I know, I'm sorry. Okay, so why is it that we're here? Why am I giving a damn what's happening? Okay, so you might remember a few weeks ago I was talking on my new makeup releases about a new Charlotte Tilbury product, and it was Magic Lip Oil. What was it exactly called? Yeah, it was Charlotte's Magic Lip Oil Crystal Elixir, which is retailing for €35. It is currently out of stock on their website, but newsflash, spoiler alert, your girl got it. Now, I thought it was interesting because there were a lot of claims that were coming with it. So they said, discover the clinically proven results. Moisturizes for up to 24 hours. Actually, by the way, I've taken some screenshots because you know me, full transparency. So there you go. It says moisturizes for up to 24 hours, and there's an asterisk next to that. That is important. We will get back to it. Boosts hydration by up to 157% in 1 hour. Asterisk, asterisk. Okay, fair enough. And then visibly reduces the appearance of lip lines by up to 20%. Asterisk. Lip volume appears boosted by up to 70% in 28 days. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. And then it says over 92% agree that Charlotte, and by the way, the 92% is asterisk, asterisk, so we'll come back to that. They agree that Charlotte's Magic Lip Oil instantly hydrates, visibly defines, reduces the appearance of fine lines, feels light, non-sticky and non-greasy on the lips, leaves lips feeling kissably soft, smooth and conditioned. Now, I can't really say much about the kissably soft because I am single and it's quarantine. So, although by the time I put this up, because by the way, a lot of these things are saying over 28 days, so the guts of a month. So this is going to be a very rigorous trial. I will be conducting this over 28 days. So I am currently filming this on the 28th of May. So I'm going to check back in on the 28th of June and hopefully we'll have this up sometime the end of June, beginning of July. I'm going to check in frequently about all of these things. Now, the first claim, it says moisturizes for up to 24 hours and then there's an asterisk next to that. That was tested on 17 people over a 24-hour period. 17 people isn't enough to make a claim like that, in the same way that I can't really say that this test with myself is going to prove an awful lot. It is a sample size of 1, and N equals 1, a single subject research design, which, if you know anything about research methods, they are the least robust, unfortunately. But I want to kind of illustrate this, essentially, in this series. Well, I suppose series, because I do want to do a little bit more of this. If you see any mad claims by makeup products, let me know. I will test it. I'm going to do it. I will spend the money for you guys. The next thing they said then was boost hydration by up to 157% in 1 hour. Tested on 100 people over 7 days. My question there on both the moisturizers and the hydration is, how exactly is that tested? It's very important that you know how to test these particular variables. So, I mean, moisturizing I can only give via self-report, and I guess the same with hydration. But I'm not really sure how they got a figure of 157%, but there you go. It says visibly reduces the appearance of lip lines by up to 20%, but again, that was a sample size of 17 people over 24 hours. Lip lines, I guess you could do that by counting them. I will like zoom you in on my lips because I am going to try and do this sort of thing. I'll probably take a screenshot and see what the story is. I do plan on using this for 28 days solidly, and I plan on using it as a night mask, a night lip oil. I had been using Kiehl's, but I plan on stopping that and not using any other kind of lip treatment products, because I don't want them to be a confounding variable. I don't want anything else that could potentially contaminate the results. It is a little bit research methody. If you know me or have watched my channel, you will know that I am a psychologist. I do find research methods fascinating. I actually teach research methods as part of my job as a lecturer, so this is something I am quite passionate about and quite interested in. The next thing they said was lip volume appears boosted by up to 70% in 28 days, but that was tested on 32 men and women over 28 days. That is not a very large sample size. Right, you could conceivably do a dependent t-test, which is what you would be looking at. You would be looking at differences in means across time, but it's still quite a small sample size, and ideally they should have a control group that is given a placebo. Now, I don't have that. This is why it's bad makeup science. I'm not doing the things that I necessarily should be doing. I should have control groups. I should have this, but I am one person. This is what I'm doing. I can measure lip volume. Now, let's all go back to maths when we were in secondary school, high school, whatever it is you call it. How do we calculate volume? I know. You didn't think this was going to come up in your adult life. It is width by height by depth. Now, if you know my lips, you will know they're very thin. That and my hair is the only thin thing about me. Everything else about me jiggles. I mean, look at those bingo wings. They are sizable. But I do want to measure volume, and it's great because actually my fab friend Kelly gifted me with a crochet kit for my birthday, and one of the things that came with it was this measuring tape. I know we're getting very scientific about it. So what I'm going to do is, this is day one. I haven't used the lip oil yet. Let's be super scientific about it. And if any of my students are watching, I have my experimental hypothesis, which is that there will be a difference in my lip volume over time as a result of using this Charlotte's Magic Lip Oil Crystal Elixir. My null hypothesis is that there will be no difference. Part of what I found interesting as well was the packaging itself. It doesn't mention any of these claims, and there's no like little piece of paper or anything in there that would state, oh yeah, this is the case. So, like I said, this is what I'm going to be doing over the next 28 days. I'm going to be doing it pretty fastidiously. I will be checking in on a weekly basis. I am also going to do a 24-hour check where I'm going to come back tomorrow on the 29th. I will have makeup. Or will I have makeup on? No, I won't have makeup on. I'll be good. And I can let you know what I think about the first claim of the moisturising for up to 24 hours. And I can let you know about the claim around boosting hydration by up to 157%. But I will check in then after that on a weekly basis up until we get to the 28 days. And I will be measuring my lips as we go along. So let's just get straight into that bit. I'm going to zoom you in, and we can maybe even look at the lines on my lips. Yeah, feel free to judge. I know, it's so weird. I feel a bit like the opening of Rocky Horror, where they're just like, sorry, my teeth are a bit gammy. Yeah, you can see I don't really have that many lines on my lips. But future Teresa is going to try and count them. Good luck with that, future Teresa. Still the image, and let's see how that goes. Now I'm going to use this I'm going to calculate the upper lip volume and the bottom lip volume, and then the total lip volume. So again, it's width by height by depth. So I will have to do a little bit of a side profile as well, so you can see my chins and my spots. So saws. I know it's super weird. I am going to go via centimeters and millimeters because, well, I'm European and that's what we do here. So I'm going to start off with the upper lip. If their claims are true, they're saying it should go an increase by up to 70%. They're careful to say up to 70%. Sorry, just had a little bit of fluff there. Then this is the figure that it should be going up to. But of course, there's going to be some leeway. One of the things I'm actually going to do, because I am a nerd, I have SPSS, which is a statistical programming software for the social sciences, and I'm going to I'm going to input the data across each week. So after week one, time one, week after week one, week two, week three, week four, and then I can be a geek and see if there's a statistically significant difference. So even if it isn't by up to 70%, is there still enough to say that there is a statistically significant difference across time? So if that is something you are interested in, this is our bad makeup science. This is going to take me a long time to put together, but if you are interested, like I said, put down below if there are any other mad makeup claims that you want me to check out. I am happy to try and test them, figure them out, as long as they're not like wildly expensive. But I want to do these things so it can save you guys some cash. I think it's really important to understand science. Science is important. It is useful. It helps our society be a little bit better. But keep on watching if you want to see, firstly, how I got on after the 24 hours. Did I actually feel that my lips were more moisturised? And did I feel like they were more hydrated? So check on in if that is what you are interested in. Yes, I am in a different room. We're currently going through what can only be described as a heat wave in Ireland. In the west of Ireland, it's 27 degrees. It's so warm. It's so warm. So I would normally film upstairs, but it just all the heat is traveling up there, so it's just way too warm. Okay, let's get straight back into it. Today is actually the 30th of May, so it has been 2 days, a little bit less than 48 hours since I started using the Charlotte's Magic Lip Oil Crystal Elixir. Came in this little box, okay? It said the first claim was moisturizes for up to 24 hours, and that was tested on 17 people over 24 hours. I don't feel like it's any more moisturized than when I'm using my Kiehl's butter mask. If anything, I commented on this to friends, I felt like I was having to use this an awful lot more than I have had to use, say, my Kiehl's. So for that, I'm kind of like, oh, that's not great. Because by the way, this was €35 and you get 8 mils or 0.2 fluid ounces. So you don't get an awful lot from it. When you open it up, it is actually like a little roller ball. And when you put it on, see, proof that I have been using it. You put it on like that. It's quite a dense formula. Like, it's not sticky, but you can feel it's quite thick. The smell is very strange. And I was trying to describe this to people the other day. It's sort of like when you're in a supermarket and you go to their the supermarket's own brand, like fairy cakes, as we call them in Ireland, or queen cakes, you know, the little buns, and they have the icing on top of that, and it's really icing. It is like that. It smells vanilla, a little bit sickly sweet, and it takes a while for that to dissipate. Like, I can still smell that right now. Not wildly pleasant. In terms of that first claim of moisturising for up to 24 hours, I don't feel it does, because I've had to apply this a number of times and it doesn't feel any more moisturised. Now, I will give them the benefit of the doubt in that I'm comparing this to other times when we aren't going through a little bit of a heat wave, but even then, like, I have this on now and I don't feel moisturised, which sounds bizarre. It's also very fitting that I'm drinking a cup of tea. You know, I'm spilling the tea, etc. It then said boosts hydration by up to 157% in 1 hour, and that was tested on 100 people over 7 days. But it's a funny one because they're saying boosting in an hour. I don't know how they measured the 157% or how they even quantified hydration, but I would find that to be almost synonymous with moisturising hydration. My lips don't feel any more hydrated than they did before this. The next claim was visibly reduces the appearance of lip lines by up to 20%, and that was based on tested on 17 people over 24 hours. So that should mean that I have less lip lines than I did 2 days ago. So I guess we can actually test that claim, because obviously we're still waiting on the other one, which is lip volume appears to be boosted by up to 70% in 28 days. I will be testing that again in another 5 days, and then a week from that, and a week from that, and then until we're at the 28 days. So I'm going to zoom you in now so we can actually see the lips, and future Teresa, editing Teresa, can count the number of lip lines. Have fun with that, Teresa. I haven't even done that from 2 days ago because, I mean, it's a tedious job. But I will zoom you in now. I might actually like wipe this off because I tested, or I showed it with bare lips the first time. So I feel like I'd have to compare this with bare lips again. It does make me realise I've just wasted product just showing it to you, but whatever. But I will zoom you in now. I'll have removed this product so we can more accurately determine that particular claim. It is weird to be that zoomed into my lips. I'm so sorry about my skin. Look, it is what it is. So obviously you can kind of see whether or not the lines are there, but it could be difficult to see. So future editing Teresa will have put down whether or not there is 20% less lines. Is it a yes? Is it a no? And I will obviously talk about that towards the very end of the video once I have all of the results put together. But yeah, that's it for this particular check-in. I won't be checking in again for another 5 days for when we're measuring again, just to see. But yeah, that's it so far. It's now the 11th of July, which means I went well over the 30-day mark. I haven't included the halfway mark video because I'll be real with you, I looked gross in it and I couldn't stand looking at my face, so my skin was being really problematic. More problematic than it is right now, which is almost as problematic as what's going on in the beauty community, but let's not talk about that. So yes, the receipts, it is the 11th of July. I am showing you some of my messages. And I have been using this Magic Lip Elixir oil for, I'd say, about 40 days now. And yeah, myself and Chaza, we've been getting on. So let's do some of the measurements. I will zoom you in and I'll probably fast forward through it like I'd say I hopefully did with the other ones and give you the measurements. So that's it, the measurements are in. I am going to calculate them now to see if there have been any changes. I'll run the results through the mass spectrometer. I don't have a mass spectrometer, I'll be honest, I don't really know what it does. And if I had one, I'd probably just use it in the same way that I use an exercise bike that I got a couple of years ago. A very expensive clothes hanger. Yeah. But come back if you want to see the results, and I will have a full face of makeup so I'll be easier to look at. You're welcome. It is now the 13th of July, so I have been using this lip elixir, which cost me €35. Let's not think about that too much, for more than 30 days. So let's see, did it actually meet the claims that it espoused on its website. So the first thing saying, it moisturizes for up to 24 hours. I'm going to say I don't think it moisturized my lips anywhere near as much as, say, the likes of Kiehl's or Laneige, which is a fraction of the price, particularly Laneige. Kiehl's is pretty up there in price, but it's still a little bit cheaper. So I would argue on the basis of that, I don't think it's any better than any general lip balm. And by the way, like I don't have a huge amount of this left. It looks like I have a certain amount of it left, but I'd say it's about to here now, like in terms of what's left. So you don't get a lot of bang for your buck. €35, oh my lord. It says boosts hydration by up to 157% in 1 hour. I have no idea how they came to that particular thing. My lips didn't feel any more hydrated. I would actually argue that over, well, the 40 or so days, my lips were probably in not so great condition, not as good as they would usually be. So not so sure on that. The next one was, it said, it visibly reduces the appearance of lip lines by up to 20%. That was actually true. When I looked at pictures of before and after, there was a reduction of my lip lines from, I think it was like 90 or something to 70. So, or 72, something like that. So that was a reduction by up to 20%. So that is one of the claims that, yeah, we can actually say, yes, we're accepting our experimental hypothesis. But the biggest one was, they said, lip volume appears boosted by up to 70% in 28 days. So I gave it more than 28 days. I gave it about 40 days. And I was measuring lip volume by width, by depth, by height, which of course has some flaws in it because it wasn't taking into account like lip shape, etc. So I will out and out say the methodology of this is somewhat flawed. But if we look at the measurements, there was absolutely like no difference. So at time 1, when I added it all up, I have the information here because I am a weirdo. The total volume of my lips was 4.47 centimeters cubed. At time 2, it was 4.5 centimeters cubed, which there can be differences just due to the way that you're measuring, etc. Like you leave room for some amount of error. And at time 3, by the way, time 2 was like halfway through. It was about 18-ish days in. At time 3, I had a volume of 4.41 centimeters cubed. So I put that into SPSS because I'm a nerd. And I ran a non-parametric test. It was essentially a Friedman's ANOVA for the nerds out there. The reason why I used a non-parametric test was I didn't have a big sample. It was just me, so you have to use a non-parametric test. And when I ran it, this is what came up. So it said that the p-value was 0.447, I think, something like that. And that, in order to be seen as there being a significant difference across the conditions, it would have to be less than 0.05, which is quite technical, but obviously you can see it obviously isn't. And one of the great things about doing a non-parametric test is it actually tells you that you have to retain the null hypothesis. So that our null hypothesis was stating that there would be no difference in lip volume across time. So I know that methodologically it's quite flawed. I wasn't really sure how to measure lip volume, and I wish they had actually said how it was that they were measuring lip volume in their experiments. They were very, very unclear about that, which is not great because in the sciences you need to be able to replicate. So I'm like, Charlotte, what you doing? But of the 4 claims, only one of them is true in my eyes, and it's the one that I wouldn't be that bothered about. Like, I don't really care about lip lines. Like, it's not really a thing for me. It is overly expensive lip balm. Like, sorry, Charlotte, what are you doing? This is obscene. It is obscene. I usually give a rating out of 10 on things like this. I would give it a 0 out of 10. Does not work. It is overpriced. I hated the smell. It was vanilla. It was so like sickly sweet. And you know what? I'd tolerate that if it did something. Do you know what you're as well to get? If you actually want to plump up your lips, use the Revolution Pout Balm. Use Soap and Glory's Mighty Mouth lip balm. They work much better, and I would actually argue they feel a lot more hydrating. This is a complete and utter money grab. It is, I don't want to say fraud, but it is not meeting the claims that they are claiming. I don't know how they've measured it. Again, take what I'm saying with a certain amount of salt.
partly because salt is delicious, but also, again, I am not versed in how to measure these particular things. I know how to use analytic software, etc., but I wasn't sure about how to measure lip volume. But I think we can even see, let's be real, my lips do not look any different. They are still as scrawny as ever. Although I do have lovely lipstick on, which was in my previous video on lethal cosmetics, because I filmed it I filmed this just after that. So I can't in any conscience recommend this. As far as I'm concerned, it seems a little bit scammy, a little bit untruthful. Just get your general lip balms from a supermarket. I like Burt's Bees, they're quite good. I couldn't recommend this. But that is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a new enough, I've never done anything like this before, bad makeup science. So if there's anything that you want me to test out in terms of, is it meeting the claims that it's espousing, let me know, put it down in the comments, because I wouldn't mind doing something like this again, because I'm a little bit of a nerd and I will happily run analyses. I have the software to do so. Come for me. So do let me know if there's anything that you want me to test. Do please like, comment and subscribe. It really helps me out. I have a tiny channel and I really want to grow. I'm just being greedy at this point, aren't I? Do please share, because sharing is caring, unless of course it's an STD, in which case, like, wrap it up. Don't be gross. Like, But that is it. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.